An elven warrior trapped on modern-day Earth. Two friends with different destinies meet at a magical school. These are some of the stories we at Electric Lips Comics are working on. You can get your copies of both The Mana Chronicles and Tales of Mithril at elpmerch.com. Support independent creators. Explore the merch featuring exciting ELP Comics art with a wide range of designs. Electric Lips Comics. Imagination electrified.
One of the first things that I learned in photography, and some people ask me for a photography tip, and I don't really have too much to say, but basically I always say, you're not going to be a great photographer trying to learn from YouTube. That's not going to work. If you want to get a mentor, fine. If you want to get somebody, if you want to get a cheerleading section, fine. But the only way you're going to be a great photographer is that you have to get up and swing the bat every day. And that comes from shooting the camera to retouching 1,000 pictures of Lake Mead. So, I watch football. I'm a guy. I watch football. The Golden Knights are my favorite team. I'm a diehard fan. I've been here for 10 years and I ain't going nowhere. I have 10 kids. I have 7 grandkids. Yes, I'm very good with family photography. And I didn't learn anything about family photography on YouTube.
Alaska's word of the day, Dashliga'a, bald eagle.
Never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. Every experience, whether good or bad, holds a lesson. In every challenge, there's growth. Every failure offers wisdom. Life is constantly evolving, and so should we. The moment we think we know it all, we close the door to possibility. Stay curious, stay open, and remember that every day is an opportunity to become a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little better than before.
Here is your standard issue cross.
2 cups of blood, boy.
No, it's your last chance.
Check this out. Somebody's got to win.
2 cups of blood, boy.
Both of you. What are you doing way out here?
So what else you guys talk about?
Foundation.
Well, we do a few things.
2 cups of blood, boy.
Someone gave me a cup of GHB.
Oh, no.
Can you get away from fucking cloud?
2 fucking cups of blood, boy.
If I knew where he was.
You're beautiful as hell.
2 cups of blood, boy.
Sorry. Welcome to the Oil Runners broadcast. We have a special guest, Austin Galante, and we just seen actually one of his works. Definitely want to see the rest of the video, but that is releasing on June 7th, I believe, this year in Wisconsin. So I'm going to put up the information here, right here. Premiere Saturday, June 7th at 3 p.m. at Marcus Palace Cinema in Prairie, Wisconsin. So welcome, Austin. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How about
Yeah.
yourself? Yeah,
Okay. Okay, can't complain. So we just seen your work. That's some actually good work there, honestly. I'm a photographer and all that stuff too, so like I'm picky about the things, and a lot of people can't do videos too well. So that's actually pretty good. Um,
I appreciate it.
yeah. So how long have you been in the business?
Well, I was in a band for a long time and did a lot of music videos and stuff, and then I got into doing film, more like narrative filmmaking, about 3 years ago. I've been an actor in stuff for I don't know, 15 years, or I'm not sure. I'm terrible with remembering dates, but for a while, maybe, yeah, 20 years. So, I've done a few things. I used to live in LA, so I got to do some kind of fun things out there, and then met my wife and had a family and moved to Oregon, and then we ended up moving to Madison, Wisconsin, where we live currently, and decided to just start trying to make films myself because there's a limited amount of stuff going on here, and I don't know, I've just always had thought like creating stories was fun. It was a fun idea, and so I was like, well, shit, let's just do it.
Just for fun, right? Like nothing to do kind of thing. Like, so was it always been a passion, or like literally it's just like a just let's just try it and see what I can do out of it?
I've always wanted to act since I was a little kid. I thought it looked like a really interesting time. And, I got when I lived in LA, I got to, there was obviously a lot more of it going on, but competition's pretty stiff. And so, lots of auditions, and then once in a while you get something fun to do. And um, that was, you know, getting to act out there and see all the stuff was a lot of fun. But living here, decidedly less. So I was like, well, I met a few people through like doing some music videos and music stuff, and just kind of decided the last movie I shot was called Sweet Killing Machines, and I shot that about 2 years ago. Or what year is it now? I shot two and a half, 3 years ago. I don't know. Um, and it was just kind of an exercise to just see if I could do it by myself. And so the cast on that's pretty small, and it was just a couple crew people, and sort of a fun little lesson in shooting film for yourself. And then after I did that, I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I thought I wanted to try and take a bigger swing at it. So that's what Sanguine Teeth is.
Okay. So I looked through your website. So is it all horror movies, or is there going to be
No.
like other types of? I mean, you're just going to go into a whole all types of genres.
The first one I did was kind of a art house crime caper, and then this one is I would I would classify it as a comedy. It's got some horror undertones.
Mm.
I don't know. Like most people would probably, depends on who you ask. Like if you don't like horror, I would say people would be like, yeah, that's a horror movie. But if you like slasher films, you'd probably be like, I don't know. It's not a lot of blood in it, but it's a lot of insinuated, you know, people getting got.
So it seems like you're millennial Gen X. Are you in that era where we're all
Yeah.
from? Okay, so we understand. That's okay. Like, yeah, totally understand. The Gen Zers won't understand that stuff. Or somehow they'll be like, "What in the world?" No, like so. Um, yeah. You said music. So you were in a band. What kind of band were you in?
It was, I don't know, sort of There was rapping, there were guitars, there was singing. It sort of had a punk influence, but there were no distorted guitars. So I don't know. It was kind of strange, experimental. There was some like more down tempo stuff that some people like would probably be considered hip hop, um and some more upbeat stuff that people might say was rock. I don't know. So we just kind of like played with stuff and made whatever we wanted to.
Yeah, I seen you had was it Ludacris on your photos and on your website, which is right here, that marshmallow mallow palm dot.
Napalm.
Um, yeah, and Snoop Dogg and everything. So I would have never. Um, I mean, anybody can do a lot, but yeah, how did you get involved with Snoop Dogg? And that's kind of hard to do on that one. Like, and so that would come up like on a movie or something, or just random.
It's a song that I produced for the movie.
Uh-huh.
So it's in the movie. Um Title kind of is the title track for the movie.
Is that what
So
we
he's
heard?
on.
Is that what we heard on the
No, I made that track just for the trailer.
okay. Okay. So wow. I mean,
I
you
make a
actually
lot of different I make a
yeah,
lot of different kinds of music, so
yeah, you
I don't really.
all over the place on the I mean, it's great because not many people can do that. It's like just stuck at one genre, one thing, but that's okay. I mean, it's different gifts and all that stuff. So um yeah, when I looked at your website and all that, I mean, you have pieces of your music on there, and then your YouTube, which you can find the YouTube guys at Austin Galante as well, and look him up and go subscribe and everything, support him. Uh, but yeah, like it's just surprising. I was just so shocked. I mean, really. But do you do any writing books or anything as well while you're at it on these gifts that you have?
Yeah, I've written a couple. I wrote a sort of dystopian end of the world kind of thing, not a little novel. Quite a like about a year before The Walking Dead came out. It's not the same thing, but it's kind of a science fiction thing, and sort of the world ends or whatever. It's kind of a fun thing. It was written for we so with the band, we it's a lot more expensive. It's a lot harder to move around and do shows and stuff, and you play small bar shows here and there, and it just costs a lot more money. You've got to feed more people. You've got to, more people have to take time off work. You have to, um, you know, pay people, right? Like it's just more expensive. The more bodies you have involved, it gets infinitely more expensive. So, um, several of the guys had like jobs that was kind of hard for them to just, they couldn't just up and go do shows any old time. It had to be, you know, only here and there sort of thing at that point. We had gone through a number of different members for different reasons, but three of us decided to start sort of a side thing that we could just do with the three of us. And it was called Black Market Maven. And it was a dubstep um, show or whatever. And we created these characters, and then we uh, I wrote this story about the three of us as the characters in this story, and then I made an album that followed the chapters in the book. Is more or less how it went. So, um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I wanted to get into the technical as well, because a lot of people, like when they're starting off in the production stuff, um, I mean, obviously, like you said, it costs money, and you paid actors and all of that. Like, just, I mean, it's expensive. Um, how did you first, when you first did a movie, like, how did you get through all that, like, with having to pay for the people, or did you have them for free, or did you just feed them like, hey, we're just going to try something out, or what? Like, what is that process, and how can you get through
Um,
it?
well, I mean, for everybody, the process is probably not the same. There are some similar pathways that people take. I mean, there's for the last movie, it was some money I had, and then I put money on credit cards to really get through it all because the expenses were. I had to get a fair amount of additional gear. I've been sort of collecting, gear and lights and things that I've needed, building my studio slowly over the years. Over the last 10 or well, longer than that. But as far as like film gear stuff goes, probably more in the like 7 years I've been starting to collect things. I was a photographer I mean, I still am a photographer, but before that, I was a photographer. So, I have some stuff. I've built a studio in my garage, that's like infinity wall and things like that. So I've just sort of been gearing towards building up the things that I would need to make a film or make music videos or whatever I want to do. And it's been a long process, but for the last one, I had to buy some new stuff, get some lav mics and whatever additional lighting and gimbal or things like that I had to add to it. So um I went into some debt to do it because I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a swing at this, and I think I can make something pretty entertaining. I know everyone does when they do, but when they start, everyone thinks their shit's gonna be fun and good and whatever. But you got to try. So for the next movie that I'm doing, we actually did run an Indiegogo, and we raised some money for that. So I'll be using some of my own money and some Indiegogo money, and I'm also additionally looking for sponsors if anybody wants to place their products or get their, whatever name on a shirt in the movie or whatever. Reach out, send me an email. We have Robert Lasardo in the next movie, and it's it it's kind of sort of a, I don't know, comedy thriller, not a horror. The last one has more horror elements in it. It's about four vampires. The movie that I am releasing in a couple of months is called Sanguine Teeth on a Driftless Road, and it is four vampire friends that get together and go on a road trip in an RV to a cabin in the woods.
Oh, good camping movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, fashion camping, not this whole glamping stuff. Well, I'm just like vamping, I guess. But yeah, yeah. um man, so like the locations and everything, did you have to travel for at least this movie and all that stuff, or just you kept it in Wisconsin?
Yeah, we did travel. Trying to remember. Some of it was shot in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Some of it was shot in Madison, Wisconsin. Some of it was shot in DeSoto, Wisconsin, which is like 3 hours. It's over on the Mississippi River. And then some of it was shot in Minnesota. And I think I, a little bit of it was shot in Iowa.
Okay.
So it just kind of based on where I was able to procure some locations or where I'd like, when making a very low budget movie, it's a better idea to have your locations before you write the movie because, it can end up getting expensive if you don't have the right place and you didn't write it for that location. So, um, I had sort of reached out to people and found places that were willing to let me shoot, and then tailored the script around that. I had most of the actors cast for it as well, so I wrote for the cast that I had about 80%, I think. I had to get some other actors along the way, but I had actually written so the the vampires, one of the vampires, I had actually written the part for Lavelle Crawford and tried to see if he's cousins with one of the actors that's in the movie, who is also one of my best friends, and so we know each other, but he passed on it. So then I had to find Charlie Mack. Well, I started looking. My casting process is like, I need someone specific. I'm going to go look for them, and I'm not going to, for most of it, I only put out a couple of like casting calls on like Backstage and casting networks, that type of thing.
Mhm.
Uh, Mostly, I just don't enjoy the process of having 600 people email me, and I have to look through them all, and and like watching their auditions. And I would rather just like look for people that I feel like, okay, that's what I want, and narrow it down before and then reach out to them and just be like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And if they have, uh, so a lot of times casting agents or casting agencies will say, keep your reel to 3 minutes. Don't make it any longer than that. There's not going to be any casting agents that want to watch more than that. They're not going to watch it, blah, blah, blah. And for me, that's absolutely not true. I would rather your reel was 10 minutes long, because you can really fudge a casting reel and just show like a couple little quick snippets of how like just this little quick interaction, and then I can't really get a feeling for if you can actually act, or if you just took that one clip where you kind of nailed it, or you did nail it, or whatever. So I would rather see a longer, if I'm interested in you, I would rather watch you act in a few different scenarios, and then go like, okay, I think that person can act. I'm going to reach out to them and see if they would want to do it. So I think my casting process is probably different than a lot. Maybe not, but that's how I go about it. And so that's what I did for Charlie Mack. I looked for, searching on different things like Backstage and IMDb and whatever, and finally I came across a few candidates, and I reached out to them, and then I got auditions. So I only had to watch like 5 auditions for the whole movie.
Right. You got, was it that kiss method? Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, like I mean, I have some people that may fit your criteria on different, like your thing. So I may have to give you some names to check out on the actors to see if
Yeah.
you're interested, if that's okay.
For
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, even Joe Ray, the guy I gave you the information, huh?
Oh, which guy? Joe
Joe
Ray?
Joe Ray. He's a
Oh,
podcast.
Joe Ray.
Yeah,
I did reach out to him. I haven't heard back from him, but
yeah, I know he's a little busy at the second. But he is an actor as well. So,
okay.
but yeah, there's a whole bunch of different females and all that stuff. So I've seen your type of casting. I was like, okay. But um, yeah. So it's on the. Let me see if I can get this question. On the locations and stuff like that, a lot of people have a hard time, like when they have to do, you have to go through that process of like literally asking the person in that spot, like if it's a campground or whatever, it's kind of hard to, like, do you have to pay people, or like what how do you go through that, like
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, a lot of times, yeah, that is the case. for this one, I actually got a number of the locations to sponsor me, like let me do it for free for putting their whatever it was, their business or their thing in the movie.
Okay.
So that, that helps save a lot of money. Um, but there were a few that I'm trying to think. There were a few that didn't, and I had to pay a little bit of money to use the space for a while. But yeah,
How do you deal with
uh,
the workers? Just the regular people.
well, it depends. uh, yeah, it depends on where it is. Like we did one at a gas station, and it was actually we did a few. I think there's like 3 or 4 gas stations in this movie because they're on a road trip, and so they stop numerous times. But it depended on the situation. Like there was one gas station closed it for us for the morning, so we were able to just like shoot, and then people would show up outside, and we could hear people being like, it's closed, sorry. But then there was another gas station where they were just letting us shoot until someone would come in, and they would, but it was early in the morning, so I think probably only like 4 people came in the whole time. But it's still annoying because you got to just like stop and wait. But all that stuff adds up cost wise so fast that you're sort of at my budget level, you're sort of just like looking for any opportunity for a cost cut, right? So it's like, well, all right, we can use it, and we have to pause once in a while to get this, scene done, then that saves money. So that's what we did.
Yeah, I guess the sponsoring is a great way to go, and get that business out in the movies or whatever it is. Yeah, because that's a lot of like like TikToking and all that stuff, like going in front of people and doing this, like on doing the videos. It's kind of weird, like it really is just odd, just to video. I'm like, oh, okay, so and you got people just yelling and screaming or whatever it is, and just it's a mess. So and it's even weird doing photography. Like I found that as well. Like I will step back when the
Yeah.
photographer comes through, and let them do the photography that all they need. I need my little space by myself, introvert and an outside world, and let me do my thing. That anxiety level. Do you deal with anxiety on that end, like with that stuff?
I'm usually too, like, I'm tackling so many jobs all at the same time that like I don't really have any time for anxiety. There might be some anxiety, when I'm trying to figure it out and set it up, but when I'm on set, I'm so busy that it's just like tackling this, that, and everything. And so, I think the most annoying people are the ones that just like they can clearly see the cameras pointed this way, and then they just want to stop because they think they're going to get into the in the
Yeah.
movie if they like stop and pose or like wave like they've never heard of editing before. So um those people are kind of annoying. There was one time we had someone with a drone that decided to just start flying it above our heads, but fortunately for that shoot it was MOS and there wasn't any sound, so they were just up there like being annoying, and it wasn't bothering us. But you know I suppose in certain circumstances drones could be real fucking annoying.
Yeah. Kind of illegal if they have footage of what you're personally using, because isn't that like a copyright issue or something like that? Like, how do you deal
I
with that?
mean, yeah, if they were to try and use the footage, I guess, but I don't know. I suppose I'm not sure in this world where everybody's kind of their own like little press, like everybody's got a news site or whatever, and they're constantly out there trying to capture footage for their news story or their story. So I suppose they would probably be able to use it in a news sense of like, oh, saw this movie being filmed or whatever. I have been on bigger sets before where there were press that would try to, or maybe I don't even know if it was press. Honestly, it was just somebody with camera trying to sneak shots of what was happening, and then like suddenly they're like shutting it down, and like stars are ducking and like hiding, and people are going to figure out who it is. So there's always onlookers for no matter
So
what.
what?
People are entertained by people doing stuff like this, I think so.
Right. Yeah. So what would you suggest? I mean, if the onlooker that's doing it and they can't seem to not stop, how would you suggest to them to do the proper protocol if they're in that situation, without having to get jacked up?
Well, bigger shows usually have, wranglers, people that'll go take care of them, or they have security on set if they're going to be filming in a place that's, big enough, uh, more public enough, and it's, people are going to have, like if they're filming in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard or, a big street or something like that, because, I'm sure we've all seen videos of a-holes who keep trying and don't stop, and then they're just trying to get them out of there.
Yeah.
But for smaller indie films, a lot of times they don't have the money to hire a cop for the day, so an off-duty officer or whatever. But you know for myself, when I have to shoot in a place that is public enough like that, I try to write the scene quickly, and like so that it can be shot quickly. I try to look for locations or think of locations where I can either have permission, or if it's something like, okay, we're just walking down the street, and then they say a couple lines or something like that, where I can just snag a quick thing if it's just sort of to like keep the story going in some way. Um, then I don't run the risk of having onlookers sit there and cause trouble or whatever if we're in and out. And I've shot a fair number of scenes guerrilla style like that, where it's just like I've put cameras in duffel bags and like made a duffel bag that has a flap on it so nobody knows I even have a camera, and then I can flip that up and shoot with the camera in the bag so that nobody even really knows what's happening, you know. If it's such a public place that people may say, hey, you can't do that here or something.
That's smart. Like I never. I mean, yeah, I've heard of hiding it, but a duffel bag. That's kind of cool. Like, um, that is really cool to do. Man, never would have thought of that.
Huh. Yeah, sometimes shots don't really require, or like for my last film that I did, there were only a few lines in a very, very, very public place, and they were wearing wireless mics, so nobody could tell. They were laved up, so they're just sitting in a very public place having a very quick conversation, like like maybe 5 lines total or something. And I have a camera in a bag, and then we get up and walk out, and nobody was the wiser.
So, do you use different types of cameras in different scenes, or like like the GoPro, or then the other, or you just use one camera that's pretty much the same and hide it in different spots? Because you got like purses you can hide it in, or whatever. Like you like.
Yeah, I mean for that scene I had I think it was a Canon R6 too. So, it's a with its stuff on it, its case and everything, cage. It's a thing. It's not small, so it I did have it in a bag, but I do once in a while use a GoPro for something like if there's an underwater scene, because I don't have an underwater case for my camera, for my bigger camera. Um, so you know I've shot a couple of underwater things. Actually, for sanguine teeth, we did use an underwater case for the R6 for a quick shot underwater. But there's also another one where we were in a pool and like dude was doing a bunch of stuff in the pool, and so I didn't have the underwater bag, so I used the GoPro for that. But it wouldn't be my top choice of cameras to use, but it's no offense, GoPro. I'm just saying, like, there's some better lenses out there.
That's totally understandable. I have one, and I'm so scared of putting it underwater, believe it or not. Like, even though it
Oh,
says
really?
go underwater, I have yet to do it. Like, because I live out here in Alaska, I was like, this would be cool to kind of see some salmon, and just kind of capture that a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah, the cases seem to work pretty well.
that's a good thing. Now I'll buy it because I'm like, what? Like, I don't, I'm just so scared of it. Like,
Yeah.
I have a 70 Canon 70 Mark II. So like that's my new baby. And the drone, I have a drone, it was only like $100 and some. So I'm new to that section of life, So I'm growing, but it's
Yeah.
I have yet to put that stupid thing together. And I'm like, well, this is difficult at this point. I give up. Right now it's just figuring out the Canon and the GoPro, and then I'll do the drone. I'm not sure if we're allowed, how the drone, if there's like rules and regulations when having to fly a drone, because I've seen all these different types of things or what.
Probably not for $100 one. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure you're not going to have any problem. I'm going to guess it's like, I can't remember if it's like got to be bigger than a foot or I can't remember if it's 8 inches or I don't remember what the exact, but I don't think you could find $100 drone that would require a license, a flying license. Once you get kind of more up to the like $400 range, you kind of start getting into a size of drone where they require you to go and I think you have to take a class and, um, get a permit essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but buy it from Walmart or whatever. You guys still go take a class. Like, where do we find these classes at? You got to go online to look for those things.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go online and look up, drone pilot license, I think is what you do. And
Huh.
then I don't know if you could take the course online or what. I've never done it. I've got a couple drones, but I don't really just haven't had time to really work with them. I was going to use one for the movie, but the script was very large and there was a very small amount of time, so it was kind of a race. It was a big race to get everything shot for a section of it. So we just didn't have time to get it out. There were a lot of shots that I wanted to do for the movie that were like more interesting and more artistic and creative or whatever, but there comes a point in sometimes in shoots where you have to go like, all right, well, we either get this like simply shot and we're able to tell the story, or we sit here and we fuck with this weird thing through this, and like try to get this to work, and then we end up not getting everything. So there were a number of places where I was a little bit disappointed, but you look at the clock and you go like, ah, shit. I got to make a call here, and so some of that stuff got cut, which is kind of a bummer. But the drone shots got cut.
Yeah, for now. For now.
Yeah,
The next
yeah,
movie, once you sit down and figure it all out, like taking that time out and like, oh, I could do this and this scene over here. Like I have like a
yeah,
year. I'm already planned out like like a year ahead. Like I look at my scene while I'm walking, like, oh, okay, next year when I have that bear come through, like this would be a good shot. I've planned that for that
right.
photo, and eventually I get it. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
it was a.
I'll
Oh,
go
go
for it.
ahead.
Go for it.
It was um, because a lot of the cast was flown in from different parts of the country. We only had 6 days to shoot the main part of the movie, and so it was like, once that's over, I don't get reshoots and I don't, so that was sort of why there were a few shots where I was like, I really want to get this. So we did dick around with, like the underwater bag and
Mm.
trying to get the shots that we needed for stuff like that. I mean, there was a lot of complicated, weird shots that we had to do. Don't get me wrong, but there were some where it was like, all right, let's just forget that and do it like this. It'll be easier. So,
Right.
but having a lot of actors when they're not like local does pose a challenge, because once they're gone, they're kind of gone unless you've got a budget to bring them back.
Right, yeah. So you have to, as a producer, you have to pay for their flights and hotels and all that stuff and whatnot. So they're
Yeah.
just pretty much, hey, yeah, I could do it, and then bam, bam.
Yeah. That's that's how you get pretty much anybody to work on a project, right? It's like either, either they're like very like they're super excited, they're just like, I just want to do it, which, sometimes happens. Like, um, what I'm blanking on her name right now. Uh, she was in that Wes Anderson movie. She wanted to do it so bad that she took like a huge, huge, huge pay cut because she just wanted to work with Wes Anderson. I'm not saying I'm Wes Anderson by any stretch of the imagination, but um, sometimes people are like, yeah, I really want to do it, and like, and I'm like, well, look, I can't pay you what you might be accustomed to, and sometimes people will, and sometimes they won't. It's kind of like got to make an offer in a lot of situations, like, hey, this is what I could do right now. Would you do it? And sometimes they say no, and sometimes they say yes. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Would you rather act or would you rather produce? Or yeah, which end would you rather do? Or,
I would probably say act, honestly. It's like a lot. I mean, it's still a lot of work, but it's not the same level of like, holy shit. I mean, I know when you've got, so I'm taking on a lot of roles because especially for the last movie, I had a big story to tell, and it's not even that big. It's, like there's like 33 or so actors in the movie, and that's honestly, compared to a lot of movies, that's not that big. But when you got to pay them all, that's a lot of money, and it's a lot of people to deal with, and a lot of, all the paperwork and contracts and emails and just all that stuff. It's, extremely time consuming. So I'd rather act.
I could get, yeah, like instead of pay out, yeah, I'd rather.
I'd rather I'd rather have the money to pay somebody to do the emails and the contracts.
Right. Yeah. So would you like when you're starting out as like would you have to have a lawyer? Like, I mean, that's like a right there and then, or just to put out all those contracts, or are you doing your contracts on your own, or like how's that?
Just doing simple contracts on my own that, give me permission to use their images and, say how much they're going to get paid and all that stuff, so that when I distribute it and I have to show a distributor or something, like, hey, I have permission to use their image, and you know, there's a little more to it in there than that, but just kind of the basic idea of
Photographer
like,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, shoot. I might get into this business, I guess. Who knows? I don't know the stress, but honestly, I think going through the stress makes it a lot better because that's like you get, I don't know, my ADHD and all that stuff. Like I do better under pressure, but
Yeah,
and I, that last minute stuff, like I get it done better doing it last minute, but having it all planned out, it's easy too. But
yeah. I love. I personally do really love the ability to be able to um tell, like, write a story and then create it and be able to just do like absolute lunacy and then make it come to life. That is awesome to me. I wish I had a little more help on the like the production side of it, because there's just so many little things, and I'm doing wardrobe, I'm doing casting, I'm doing you know, maybe a little makeup stuff here and there. I'm doing a lot of times I'm doing lights and running a camera and directing and like so it's like holy shit, like a million mile an hour. And it would be great to be able to afford to have some other people taking care of some things. I mean, on the last one, I think there was only 5 crew members, and it's not a lot.
Yeah.
In some ways, I like having it pared down because I've been on sets where it takes so long to sit there and you're just listening to these people like sort of argue or debate or not agree on how they're going to do it and try to explain it and like maybe one person's not getting it or they do and then they don't really. They're like, well, but wait, what if we did this? And then somebody else pipes in and then it's like and for me, and I suppose it's, for me because I know how to do all the things and I know how all the things work, I can just go like, this is what I saw, this is what I see, this is what we're going to do. And I can make that call in like 47 seconds a lot of times, or maybe 2 minutes or something. Often I've already been thinking about it and I already know exactly what to do. But I think that does save a lot of time because I've definitely been on a lot of sets where it's like, holy shit.
Right.
Like the amount of time. So I do enjoy having it pared down, but it would be nice. I think I would like to have some grips around because I'm a big dude, but it gets tiring carrying lights and a camera all day and moving that stuff. I get pretty damn tired, but
Yeah.
it is
And
what it is until I get there, right?
yeah, that's true. That's true. And it'll all come to fruition, in its time. And are you the type of producer that actually like will sit down, like if they make suggestions, like, oh, hey, maybe try it this way if they're nice enough, not trying to argue with you or anything like that, and you shoot it in that way just to see,
Yeah,
and I see, okay, this is the way I wanted it, this is the way you saw it, and then bam, bam, and are you that type
yeah,
of producer?
100%, 100%. That people, once in people make suggestions, and um, I've taken or done a lot of things that I hadn't thought of, or someone says like, "Well, what about this?" And then like, "Yeah, let's try it." You know, Especially if there's enough time. There were a few times on the last movie where we were just like running out of a light. Like an actor is going to leave in an hour, and it's like, I just got to get these shots, and we just have to have this. I can't play with it right now. So that kind of goes back to making the call about whether or not like we have enough time to play around, or and on every level, I think no matter how much money you have, that comes into play. Like I've heard David Lynch sitting around going like, God fucking damn it, can I have more than one fucking day in this location? I never get a chance to play anymore, that kind of thing. So, um,
All right.
yeah, I think everybody feels it. It just gets more expensive to do things. The 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 more famous the stars are, because then you're working on. Well, this day is going to cost us 100 grand.
That sponsorship is just going to have to add about three more. Just,
Yeah,
let's get this, please. Like, oh
right.
yeah, I could see you wanting to act instead. Like, we'll just
Yeah, it's
somebody else take on the other stuff. I'm like, just have fun. I'll step in, to help just a little bit,
right.
be a team
Yeah,
player.
no, yeah, it's I like acting. That's why I got into it, and it's fun to just be able to play a part and not have to worry about doing all the other stuff. But yeah, um, I'm hoping that I can get a little bit more help on the next one. because I do have a bigger part in the next one. It was written, a little bit when we were kind of coming up with the idea and writing it. We originally wrote it, came up with an idea, and then Matt Kenner and I wrote two different scripts, but they're the same story. It's just like the beginning of the arc of the story is his, and then I write the second arc of the story, and we wrote ourselves as the main characters on this because I knew that I wasn't going to have as much money to pay, as many actors and stuff, just coming off of the other movie. And we had gotten an opportunity to, like, a friend of mine lives in Montana, was gonna let us go through his production company and apply for a grant in Montana, but we didn't know for sure if we'd get it. So we had to keep the costs and all of that at a level that we thought we could achieve if we didn't get it, which is good because we didn't get it. But um so by us acting and being the lead actors in it will help, reduce the cost of paying a whole bunch of other actors. So
Right. And it also can bring people out, and them get some screen time as well, and put it's helping others. And definitely, yeah. Have you ever thought about um sitting back and doing something, what do you call it, readings with people, just to help them even with like mental health or something, to where they can learn how to be happy if they, if they've been through something, or if they're like, if they were depressed, and just sitting there and giving them some just readings and just on Zoom or something. um
do you mean like readings for the script,
no,
or
any script, like just picking out something. I know there's scripts online and stuff like that. Just if people are going through, they can build that muscle, like some people don't know happiness, like the kids or something, like teaching them how to um, be happy if they went through something with their parents, or, or whatever. And then just showing them in the different characters, like, oh, this is how you do it, and just really bringing that out and helping them get through to.
I haven't ever done that. I don't know exactly what that would look like. I'm not like a I don't think I'm really like a great self-help person. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not the guy who's like, this is how you're going to conquer the world. I'm just not really that guy.
Teaching them how to act, but it's like they're,
Um,
you know what I mean, just going through like teaching them how to act, but also it is helping them, giving them roles that they've never been in technically, and it would
okay.
help them understand. And once they go through a situation like in life, like they'll understand, hey, that I remember that, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like, versus they've never seen it, but they remember the role, whatever you guys read and whatever
Huh.
you saw, and how to act that part in different
Yeah.
ways,
Yeah.
like.
Sounds interesting. I mean, I've got two kids, so I guess I do that with them quite a bit. This is probably going to happen. There
Yeah,
might be a way to deal with it.
but doing that kind of stuff in the background for people that have issues or whatever, and it might help. Who knows? Um,
Yeah,
get some extra cash there too, a little bit too.
maybe.
So some acting classes, or acting coach, being an acting coach or something.
Yeah, I don't know that I would necessarily have the time, or even whether I'd really feel comfortable with pretending that I have the knowledge to train somebody else, like, I don't know. I just haven't really ever um, thought about it like that. I've spent most of my time, or a lot of my time, just trying to learn how to do all of these things, and I'm still there. I've got a lot to learn, and um, just trying to do it. So I'm like so swamped that I didn't get to eat lunch today, kind of thing. Like, so Yeah, I don't know. I take acting classes sometimes. Somebody has to do it, and I know a really good acting coach named Dwayne Daniels for Actors Workhouse. If anybody wants to take online acting classes, he's a great teacher, a great coach. So check him out.
Yeah, y'all check out Dwayne Daniels. Um, for sure. Um, okay. Is there anything else you want to tell the people? Um anything worth life or within, any promos, whatever you want to before we end the show?
Um, yeah, I mean, I know at the beginning you said that, you put up the premiere is going to be June 7th. That'll be in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin at the Marcus Palace Theaters. You can get tickets online. I think the address is somewhere in there. And I'm going to be trying to release it this summer. It's in a festival run. It's starting, and I won't know a lot of that until later this summer, but I'm gonna try and release the movie probably late summer or something like that. So, um, yeah, you can always check Marshmallow Napalm, or find me on Facebook or Instagram at Austin Galante, and I definitely post stuff about it. So if you're interested in watching four vampires go on a camping trip in the woods and meet do all sorts of dumb shit, then I'm your guy.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely look at that, and definitely from what I've seen, it should get some awards for sure. Especially
Yeah,
the
I hope
quality of
so.
the movie with, hearing how it came about and everything. And definitely, yeah, let's loosen up that stress. You did a great job on it, at least what I've seen. So I can't wait to watch
Thanks.
the rest of it, the full version of it. um
It'll be interesting to see what people think.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you feel good about it, your actors and actresses did great, and it was a fun gig, probably most of the time, like probably what 80 something percent of the time versus like and the rest are just like that stressful situation. But yeah, I mean, um, whoever is meant to see it will be able to see it, and everything. But yeah, we celebrate your gifts for sure.
I
And
think it's pretty funny. I thought I'm biased, obviously, but I laughed a lot. Um, yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
do you have any bloopers on the end of it or anything like that?
No, no, I didn't put any on there. There's a chance that there's some behind the scenes footage stuff that maybe at some point will get edited together, cut together. Um, Maybe when I'm not so busy, or maybe one of the other guys who does editing. Maybe he'll cut some stuff together. I don't know at some point, but I've just been kind of in a 100-mile-an-hour run trying to go between getting this one finished and still doing it, and then also I'm like in pre-production for the next one, so I'm just like swamped.
Okay. Yeah, can't wait for it to come out. And where can we watch it at? Like for those that can't get to Wisconsin.
Um, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure who will pick it up. I mean, I would assume, my last one got, you know, picked up on Amazon Prime. I think you can still watch it on there. It's an extremely low budget movie, but Sweet Killing Machines was the name of it, and you can see it on Amazon Prime. Um, you can also watch it on my page. I put it up on there, and it's on a couple other little streaming sites, but um, I assume that this will get picked up by more stuff because it's got like a 40 times bigger budget than the first one. And the first one mostly takes place all in a hotel room. So it's kind of slow.
Okay. Do you put anything on YouTube? Are you going to put it on the YouTube for watching?
I will put this movie on YouTube at some point. I'm probably gonna see about, having it picked up by, some other places like Tubi or whatever. We'll see who takes it.
Okay.
It's extremely rated R. A lot of mature-ish content, you know. So
Right.
like, you know, that's gonna limit in some ways, maybe. I don't know. Like Netflix, you know, they got tons of shows, but Netflix probably, I don't know if they're gonna pick it up. I doubt it. But
Yeah. Well, I
who
guess yeah,
knows?
all that censor stuff or whatever that these sites have, like you can't have this word and you can't have that, and you know all that where you don't
Yeah.
get monetized. I guess. Yeah, I guess YouTube would be one that wouldn't pick it up so much if you said it was like extremely like.
Oh, YouTube will. No, I've already tested it on YouTube, and it was, you know, approved, but uh, it's like private or whatever. But just to like check that out, and, you know, it's got bad language and stuff in it, but it's not like crazy. It might be a little crazy.
uh, well, we're going to end with that, and we are going to wonder what other crazy movies you come out with. So keep us updated on everything you do, and whatever you guys just go on his websites and his Facebook and everything, and just follow him and help him out, and keep his algorithm going as well. And yeah, and whatever you share, and I can be able to share, I will post it up on my Oil Runners broadcast page on Facebook and whatever. If you have any promos, I'll do that as well, or like little clips, I'll put them on here as well. Just, you know, like how I did earlier. You don't have to worry about monetizing anything right now. I'll just do it for free for you. That's the special. So yeah, just let me know. Just keep in contact, and you got us for life, and we'll make sure that you're good. So with that, everybody, we love you, and keep up the great work. And we will see you guys later. If you want to be on the show, let us know. Email oilrunnersservices@gmail.com, and we'll get you on. We'll talk to you later. Oh,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, no problem. And in Alaska Native culture, we say Chinan in the Danaina language, and Chinan means thank you. So thank you, Chinan, for watching the show, and Chinan for just being who you are, and being the best version of yourself.